My name is FlemLo Raps, and I'm a Bengals fan. So the Bengals just played their final preseason game, and I'm finally ready to give my 2021 Cincinnati Bengals season prediction. Will the Bengals go from worst to first on a miracle ride steered by your boy Joe Cool? Or will we find ourselves in position to draft the best offensive lineman in next year's draft, only to then be scrutinized when we go back to the LSU well and draft Derek Stingley instead? Only time will tell, but I got my own predictions. The way I'd like to see the season turn out based in reality. Something I actually believe in my head, not just in my heart. Today you're getting Cincinnati Bengals 2021 NFL season predictions from, basically a random Bengals fan. But if you cool with that, you already know what time it is, fellas. Cue the Wayne.
Yeah, I'm no quitter, 'cause I'ma go get her.
Alright, before we jump in, it's time to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, Manscaped. So we still got love for the Lawnmower 3.0, beastly little product, but Manscaped recently dropped the Lawnmower 4.0. So we still got the ceramic blades with the skin safe tech that helps reduce nicks and cuts. But now the blades are easily replaceable, really just adding even more longevity to the product. It's also cordless and waterproof, making it perfect for use in the shower. So you can seamlessly just slide this into your routine. The 90-minute battery life is great in general, but it's especially great when you're traveling. Plus, the new travel lock feature makes it easy to just toss this in a bag and never have to worry. So join 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get 20% off plus free international shipping at manscaped.com. Shout out to Manscaped once again for sponsoring the video. Without further ado, I didn't want to see Joe Burrow play in the preseason, and I pretty much got my wish. Today ran 3 plays, handed off a little in and around to Tyler Boyd, threw a screen pass to Jamarr Chase, and then he handed it off to Joe Mixon, and then boom, he was sitting down. And while I do want to talk a little bit about that screen pass, I just real quick want to talk about Joe Burrow and kind of my expectations for him, because he kind of is the Bengals. It's like there's so much other stuff we got to get right in order to be good. But if Joe Burrow not right, like the other stuff, I don't want to say it don't matter, but we still not going to be the team that we want to be. Like, it goes through Joe Burrow. Obviously, he had the injury last year, and he had some issues early on in camp where he felt a little bit uncomfortable. But what was it, like 1 day, 2 days after Joe Burrow kind of came out, was like, yeah, I've been a bit uncomfortable on my knee. The Bengals kind of stepped it up. They changed the way they was doing a lot of things with like just the bags and the pressure and all this stuff. I won't go too deep into it, but he started to feel a hell of a lot more comfortable. And after just getting smashed on by the defense for like the first half of camp, like that second half of camp, Joe Burrow on the offense was lighting it up. Obviously, I couldn't judge nothing really off of these 3 plays he just ran, but I actually feel pretty comfortable with Joe. Assuming that offensive line holds up, we'll talk about that more in a second. Let's go back to the only pass Joe threw in this game today. Screen pass to Jamar Chase. Jamar drops it. Jamar Chase was the first receiver drafted in this year's NFL draft, but he struggled with drop issues pretty much throughout the preseason. In preseason week 2, the man actually dropped all 3 of his targets. This has caused a lot of people to panic, especially the ones who wanted to draft Sewell over Jamar Chase. Now, Sewell actually hasn't had a good preseason either, so make of that what you will. But it seems like whichever one of them we would have drafted, they was gonna struggle in this first preseason. So yeah, anyway, I want y'all to know when I say this, I really mean it, but it doesn't mean that it won't change, right? Like, it can definitely change, but currently, I'm actually not worried about Jamar Chase. And the reason is because I know for a fact he can catch the ball. And I also believe that he got the type of dog in him that having these drops early will test him, but it's not gonna break him mentally. Just based on his pedigree, I feel pretty confident in that. Now, I've seen the John Ross comparisons, and as a Bengals fan, like, how can you not? Like, how could you expect Bengals fans to not feel a little bit of the ghost of John Ross when they see this? Remember, John Ross was a top 10 pick, so we kind of got a little bit of PTSD when it comes to this. But I watched John Ross at Washington and throughout the draft process. I always liked this talent, but I always questioned his mental toughness. I questioned the competition he went against in college. Hell, I questioned the program he went to. I don't have those questions about Jamar. Jamar literally went to wide receiver U and was the man at 19 years old. And I think he's a little bit rusty when it comes to just playing in an actual game. I believe, and I really believe this, once the preseason is done and we get into week 1, I think that week 1, even like the first 3 weeks, might be a little bit ugly, but I think he's gonna figure it out relatively quickly within the first half of the season. Now, I obviously didn't get a great read on the starting offensive line in 3 snaps. It feels like we're going into this season pretty much blind. Our line in general has been very solid throughout the entire preseason. If you put any stock into PFF grades, we've had some huge jumps from some of our young linemen who we've been trying to develop. It's been encouraging to see as even Michael Jordan, a 23-year-old guard who missed the block that got Burrow hurt last year, he's actually made some massive leaps this preseason after taking that monumental mistake very personally and attacking the offseason and getting better. It's great to see, but it damn sure ain't enough for me to just feel confident that he can go in there and protect Burrow for 4 quarters like all of a sudden based off, a few preseason snaps. And if you're a Bengals fan and you happen to be watching this and you don't really know much about me, I'm not like a negative Bengals fan. I'm not like a positive Bengals fan. I'm just honest. I just tell you what I really think, and I don't have confidence. Like, I wish I did. I don't have confidence in the offensive line. Like, how could I? I haven't seen them. Like, I ain't seen them together working as a unit when it really matters. And of course, like, none of us have seen that. So how can you just feel super secure that they're absolutely going to be able to do something until you see it? So again, I've been pretty damn encouraged by what I've seen in the preseason from Michael Jordan, from Deontay Smith, especially Deontay Smith. And it seems like adding offensive line coach Frank Pollock to the coaching staff has really made a big difference in a lot of these linemen who it seems like they've just been getting really, really bad coaching since they've been in the league. And that's not a direct shot at like Zach Taylor. I mean, they're a position coach, but it still falls on Zach Taylor because he hired that dude, right? Because that was his boy from whenever. But now we've brought on a guy who's actually proven, who has coached for our team before, who our linemen love, who Joe Mixon loves. So far, I'm seeing improvement. So I'm hopeful, but I'm damn sure not like confident. I just kind of feel like the Bengals took some shortcuts and some gambles, specifically gambles, on that offensive line, and our casino run hasn't been great as of late. But maybe this is the year our luck turns around. Maybe 1 or 2 of these guys develop. Maybe Jonah stays healthy. Maybe Riley Reeve is just a solid pro that we need him to be. I don't think it's far-fetched that we can have an average offensive line this year, but the difference in them being a bad line versus an average line, like our entire season really hinges on that. Now, the defense was awful as well last year, and they were getting gashed, especially like late in games, specifically 4th quarter, and then also like right before half. We would always give up points before half. A lot of penalties, communication problems, like, and honestly just want to. Like, we had some cats who maybe weren't 100% bought in last year. This year, the defense came into camp beasted. Mike Hilton from the Steelers has been huge, like a huge addition, as far as just dog, honestly. Obviously, most of y'all probably know who Jesse Bates is now. It's time for the Bengals to go ahead and pay that man, because he ain't getting no cheaper. Just write a blank check, bro. Sign him. Let's get it done. And I ain't gonna sit here and go through the whole damn roster, bro. I ain't got nothing to prove. But the quickest way for me to say this is, I feel like our defensive line, the depth, the impact that group specifically can have on our entire defense, if they can just stay somewhat healthy. Now, we already lost one player. We lost Joseph Osai out of Texas. That was out there around pick, man. He had a great first drive in preseason. Like, he was amazing. Sacked Tom Brady, with the starters out there, beat Wirfs over there. He got hurt, he's out for the season, but I still feel like we got a good depth. The defense, I think, will be much improved. I think we'll be solid this year. Our special teams is gonna look pretty good. Don't sleep on the importance of that. When you consider how many close games we've lost in the past couple of years, and improved special teams, that is huge, and that could tilt games, man. I won't brag on our kicker until he does it in regular season games, but he just booted a 57-yarder. The man ain't missed a kick all preseason. Crazy leg, crazy talent. Dude got stupid power. He's a weapon. Hopefully we can get that when we actually get into games, and I think that makes a huge difference. If you just look at last year, if we can make field goals, if everything else was the same, our record looks completely different. Our season looks completely different. So let's get to the prediction. A lot of Bengals fans think we're gonna win 10 games. I'm not one of those. Now look, if you believe that, I don't think you're crazy. I just think that's like your best case scenario prediction. Like if we stay healthy, Burrow looks like Burrow, Chase leaves his drop issues in the preseason, if the pass rush is significantly better, like if it translates, if we win most of our close games, if we catch a couple of breaks, like so many variables, if every single thing went our way, yeah, we can win 10 games. But it's the NFL, all right? Things don't generally work like that. It's football. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be missed calls. There's going to be bad calls. There's going to be breaks that don't go our way. Like these things generally happen. So unless this is just our miracle season, which maybe it is, then 10 is definitely a stretch. Something else to consider before I give my prediction, we're actually an extremely young team. We got a young QB, an unproven offensive line, young receivers, a young coach, and a young coach who specifically has struggled to win close games. So when you take that and you add in the fact that young teams in general just oftentimes struggle to close out games, I have to imagine that there's going to be some games that we could have took, but a couple things don't go our way and we end up getting a L in those. But I do believe we start to gain that experience this year, and I think we start to learn how to close those games out. I just think it's going to take a little while. I think we figure that out later in the season. Burrow's coming off a crazy injury. Jamarr ain't played in 2 years. Starting offensive line haven't even played together. Like, it's hard for me to see us just coming out of the gate and executing perfectly from jump. Like, I think we're going to struggle a little bit. I think it's going to be kind of ugly in some moments early on. But if it is, and my prediction is correct, don't panic, because I think we figure it out as time goes. So yeah, I'm going to go 7-10. I think we go 7-10. I think that's a good record for us where we at right now in our development as a team. 6-11 won't shock me. 8-9 won't, like anything around 500 definitely won't shock me. And if we catch a couple of breaks, who knows, bro? Like that 10-game season, it might be a possibility. If we only win like 3 games, then Zach Taylor does have to get fired. And I really hope that doesn't have to happen, because I'd like to be able to keep the continuity that he has already been building. But if it does happen, I'd love for the Bengals to go out and just get a reputable coach. Don't go get some young position coach sorry, Zach, that is just not proven, man. And that's not even a knock on Zach. I'm just saying where we at right now. We got Burrow, we have pieces. So if this thing don't look like it's supposed to look this year, let's bring in somebody that's proven, because we don't have time to just be wasting. You feel me? With some dude trying to figure out if his system work and all of that. Look, bring me somebody we already know the system work. Let's plug Joe in. Let's get moving. You feel me? Other random predictions before I end it. T. Higgins takes off this year, leads the team in receiving yards. Jesse Bates becomes a fan favorite by non-Bengals fans. Dude's gonna make some wild plays this year. Tyler Boyd stays consistent, makes clutch plays. Jamarr comes out of his funk and really starts to take off a little bit later in the season. Cheeto Awuzie takes a big step forward, becomes the Bengals' #1 corner, proves a lot of people wrong this year. Jonah Williams solidifies himself as a good and respectable left tackle in the league. Bengals' pass rush is greatly improved from a year ago, despite losing Carl Lawson. And I think overall, this is going to be a bit of an uneven year. I think we might lose some games ugly, but I also think we're going to have some upsets where people are just going to count us out from the jump, and we're going to sneak up on a couple of teams. So again, 7-10 is my official prediction. I'm going to leave it right there, and I'll holler at y'all once again, probably about week 4 or 5. Other than that, good luck to fans of all 32 teams. Wish y'all luck and prosperity and health, and that goes for my team tenfold. My name is FlemLo Raps. I'm going to holler at y'all boys next time, man. Peace.